I looked around at everything with love? What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? What if I heard? What if I gave? What if my hand reached out to everything with love? What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within His Spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. And I know the first step begins within me. What if I felt perfectly whole? What if my heart opened to everything with love? What if I knew only the truth? What if my mind accepted everything with love? What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within the Spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. Oh, Mother, Father, Spirit, guide us from above. Our sons and daughters look to us to show them love. Come, sisters, brothers, let's hold hands and sing as one, that we will be what we've come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within the Spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? Love. What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? What if I heard? What if I gave? What if my hand reached out to everything with love? What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within His Spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide someone will see? Then I must recognize within the spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. Yes, we're gonna be what we've come here to be. What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? Love. What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? What if I did? What if I said? What if I looked around at everything with love? What if I heard? What if I gave? What if my hand reached out to everything with love? What if I'm a beacon of that light that shines in all of us? And what if I'm the only guide some will see? Then I must recognize within the spirit, and it's only love. And I must be what I've come here to be. And I know the first step begins within me. What if I felt perfectly whole? What if my heart opened to everything with love? What if I knew
Begin Within Ministries proudly presents Sofa Sundays with your hosts, Reverend Dr. Michelle Izuku and Reverend Jeannie Sovereigns. Sundays at 11 a.m. Arizona time and rebroadcast on Mondays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Come join us on the sofa every Sunday morning. Sofa Sundays with Michelle and Jeannie. Learn more at www.beginwithinministries.com. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.
Oh, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Oh my goodness, we have a special guest today. We have my dear friend, Deborah Covington. She's no stranger to the sofa, but I am going to scoot us up here a little bit so we can see. There we go. A little bit better. All right. Yes, so as you've noticed, we're missing Rev Jeannie today, but we love her and miss her when she's not here, and I'm sure she's watching because she's always watching.
Look out.
Just so you know, she's always paying attention. So no. But anyway, we hope she's having fun, and we miss her. And I believe she's speaking today, so she's out gallivanting around, spreading the word, spreading the good stuff, giving God a good time, right? As she likes to say. So we are right now at the home of Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington's work, where she does her practice, her classes, all the things that she does, books. She's an author. But this is where she lets us use this space for our ministry. So we're so incredibly grateful that we get to be here. But if you want to check out what she has going on, she's one of our greatest mentors. You can go to unleashyourlife.us, and she'll have on there the different classes and things that she runs ongoing, right? There's always something happening here. Also, this space is for rent. So I know I've told a lot of people that, and there's quite a few people that took me up on that and came in here and they have been renting the space. It's a beautiful space. There's so much good stuff that happens in here from different groups that come in that the space just feels good to be in here. So if you have something that you want to host, check that out too. That's also on the website at unleashyourlife.us. And no, I do not get paid for that advertisement. I do it because I love her and I believe in all the things that she does. So we are excited to be here today. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Usually Jeannie and I go back and forth. We are at 7220. Thank you, Barbara. 7220 North 16th Street. You can tell I do the one part and Jeannie does the other. Building 1A, you'll see the sign of our logo, the two girls on the door, and that's where we are right now. So if you are local, you still have time. We never catch you late, so just get on over here. There's no tardies. There's no tardies at Sofa Sundays.
That sounds like a new name, though. Two girls on the door.
That's another talk. Right, but don't ever feel like you're running late to come here. We understand that a lot of you have your own other churches that you've gone to. We've made our time at 11:11 because we don't want you to stop that. We just want to be a part of your life too. So get your butt over here if you're local and be with us. We've got lots of hugs for you, and we're excited to see you.
And this can be watched anytime as well, too.
And this can be watched at any time because it's always on beginwithinministries.com as well as on YouTube at our Begin Within Ministries on YouTube too. So thanks for that.
I have relatives in Texas, who watch this after they're done with their own services in Texas.
See? That's so good. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, because our mission is to help you create a life you love. You know, we want to create a life we love, and then we want to share what we're doing with everyone else too. So literally anybody could show up here. All faiths are welcome, and we don't discriminate. Nothing. Like we're pretty. I think we do a good job with that.
Pretty chill.
We're pretty chill. We're relaxed. I feel chill today. Yeah. So I think Deborah's gonna bring us in, but I want to say because we have a special treat at the end today, because we're having a big concert in May. May 8th is our big Everything With Love spring concert. It's the first event of this type for Begin Within Ministry, so we're really excited about it. We have 5 different artists performing. So we have Cerise Patron, Marcy Baruch, we have Jennifer Sheets, And then we have Sisters in Spirit, which is myself and Deborah. We got the band back together.
Yes.
Maybe that's why we're having a concert. No. It really is for the whole thing, but it's Everything with Love, and there's a lot of profound stuff that's going to happen at that concert. Incredible music, lots of original work, and some that you'll recognize from other artists that we're covering. So I'm super excited about that.
We're calling it a concert, but I guarantee you, you're going to experience it. It's more than a concert.
To me, it's like a New Thought revival.
Mm-hmm.
A new thought, right? Our version. Yep. Our version of uplifting and resetting and reviving.
And a chance to get to know all of this on a more intimate level, too.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be doing that at the Franciscan Renewal Center. You can also find this information and get your tickets at beginwithinministries.com on the events page. It's right there. You'll see who's going to be there. We have a 5:30 check-in if you want, which is a meet and greet. All the artists will be there. A lot of them have their own merchandise and albums and things like that. We'll have a Littles by Lyric representing. She's got her, this is our in-house artist, one of our crew, but she also has her own business. So she's going to be coming in with some of her little cookies that she makes. So that's going to be delicious. And we're going to mingle, get to see everybody. And then the concert starts at 6:30. So I'm sure it's going to be an amazing night. Our rehearsals are already amazing.
Yes.
I'm like, this wasn't a rehearsal. We should have recorded this and just sent it out. It was so good, So anyway, we just don't want you to miss it. So go get your tickets, and we're going to have a good time with that. So I think that was everything now.
I think so.
Jeannie, I hope I'm doing a good job without you here. But anyway, we're going to let Deborah pray us in, and we'll get started.
Okay, everyone get settled, please. And if you are comfortable closing your eyes. And as we take a deep breath, recognizing that that is the essence in our physical form of God. The breath. Purifying oxygen into our bodies. As we release our breath, we release all tension. Bringing ourselves into the awareness of this moment, the now. And we open our hearts and our minds as we come together as a community of love. Accepting and embracing that which Spirit has for each one of us. The energy that flows through our bodies, through our beings, is God. For we are of God. Everything within our being is the Creator. And as we move forward in this time together, I know that each one of us receives that which we have come here to receive. Knowing that it is unconditionally love. And so it is.
And so it is.
Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. And I wanted to say earlier, you said you had family in Texas.
Yes.
Do you know that Evie's family has made us a global community all the way out there in Australia, right?
Wow.
And I have watched from London, so we're global now.
All
Just in
right.
case you
All
didn't know,
right.
we're global. So yeah, so
Puerto Rico.
oh, and Ann watched in Puerto Rico. So spread the word. We are all over the place.
Well, as we know, there's no limitations when it comes to spirit, right?
That's one of the best parts, isn't it?
It is. Absolutely. Yes.
Remembering to yourself, oh, I'd love to see how God's going to work this one out, right? Like there's always some way that God does it. That I love. My favorite part being a Virgo and a firstborn is that I think I figured all the possible ways that something can happen, right? So say like I have an argument with you and I'll already pre-think every possible thing I think you're going to come back with, right? And then you hit me with something completely different. And I'm like, where did that come from? Like, what? Never thought about that. Like, yeah, right. Because it's infinite.
Right.
It's infinite. There's
Right.
so many ways. So you can be going after something. You can be working to manifest and to experience and to step in and doing all the things, right? But you think it's going to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not aware and open, God could be sending it to you and it's just flying by because you're just like, like a horse with this blinders on. It's like just to be open, like it could come in a lot of different ways. And oftentimes it's bigger and better than what you could ever think. So you're thinking like here, but you can't see all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's to me very interesting.
In my
God
youth,
works.
I used to believe that if the door shut, you had to force it open. and I could force it open too.
Yeah,
But you know what was on the other side was never, ever what I really wanted.
Yeah.
And that would always then remind me after finally years of that, learning that lesson, finally remembering, oh, well, I don't have to push it open because there's a multitude of ways that this is that this can unfold for me. So I'm going to see what the flow is.
Yeah.
And go. Being in Cancer, I get to do that frequently because that's part of what's natural for in this human form that I'm in, to go with the flow because it would be in a water element. And so I've learned that sometimes those rocks that I flow over are good for me as well too.
Right. And then you have the times where you're so focused on the one door, you don't see that there's 10 others open.
Right.
You're not even seeing that. So you're shoving and pushing and banging, let me in. And there's all these other opportunities, but you don't even recognize it until you maybe force the door open and go, oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong room. Whoopsie, then it's like, let me look around. Oh, there's several other options here. Okay. I don't know. But I think that's part of the human experience. And I love how now this, you know how we don't script this and this stuff just happens. This is a great leadway into our topic today, which is I transform my pain into wisdom and love.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Let's do
Just
it.
talking about that.
I know, because we do this for you. Yeah.
Of course.
Anne always says, I think they always work the topic just for me.
Yeah.
Like every time I come in, it's for me.
Saturday night, what does Anne need?
Yeah, what does Anne need? We need
Yes,
to
there
talk
you go.
about transformation. But when you do fight to get the pain, fight to get through the door that you're not supposed to go through. You push and you shove and you bang on it, let me in.
Mm-hmm.
And you step into that, and then there's all that pain and all that other stuff that's going on. You learn, you do gain wisdom.
Absolutely.
You do, pain doesn't feel great. It's not, none of us go, yay, let's have some pain. But we grow from that too.
Mm-hmm.
We learn what we don't want, what we'd like to not repeat. What we do want, like we get a lot of clarity. So sometimes when I look back on my life, even though I could say like anybody else, yeah, there's some things I wish didn't happen. But then would I be this person? Would I have done this path?
Right.
Would I have these friends? Would I have noticed that? I would like to say probably not. I probably think I think that's you'd be on a whole different version of yourself, a whole different reality, right? So you can't discount the pain, but you certainly can turn it into wisdom and recognize, here's what it's taught me. And if I don't want to repeat that pain, I'd like to learn that now. Like sometimes we need the lesson several times, before we start to go, maybe that's not working for me. Maybe I'm going to stop knocking on that same door.
Well, what about physical pain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're human.
Yeah.
We're not all human. I want to preface that we're not just human, and we are having this human experience.
We are having human experience, correct?
And it is part of this human experience for our bodies to age and deteriorate, and part of that is the experience of the physical pain of it. And as we know, so many people do have lives where many years are spent in pain.
Yeah.
And there's often the question in spiritual groups of why. Why does it have to be that way? You know, first in my mind, I'm like, well, the question is, does it have to be that way? However, it is that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way we're experiencing it in our lives now. Does it mean that at some time humanity might evolve beyond that? But that's not where we are at this time in our experience here. I read a book by Jeff Foster called The Way of Rest, Finding the Courage to Hold Everything in Love. And what I love about this, is that everything he talks about in here is about the human experience and how to really fully embrace having these human experiences and being at a place of love with it.
Yeah.
What's the name of it again?
It's called The Way of Rest, Finding the Courage to Hold Everything in Love. And it's by Jeff Foster. And I just wanted to share real quickly what I was reading this morning, because since she did tell me what this subject was going to be, I was looking up his subjects here. And I underlined a couple of things. He says, for healing is not a final destination, but an ever-present invitation to remember who you truly are. It is a call to love in every moment of our lives. And in love, your pain is not attacked or denied or pushed away, but given a home. You are not in pain. Pain is in you, held in the vastness of your love. So he talks about, and he had the experience of, I don't remember what it was, but he had the experience of a debilitating disease for many years and was in extreme pain. And so he's learned how to really be in the present moment and having the experience, even when we don't want it, even when it's really uncomfortable, and asking, why am I still hurting? Why am I still hurting? And then moving beyond that and recognizing that in doing that, we are separating our consciousness from here's me and here's the pain. When in reality, we are that energy of God, so we are everything. We're the pain, we're the health, we're the joy, we're the sadness, we're the anger, we're all of that.
Yeah.
And yet there's still just experiences that we're having because we're in this human level of life.
Right. And it's all part of the same coin.
Exactly. Yes.
Pain or fear and love, they're the same coin. It's just which side do you want to focus on?
Yeah.
Which side of it do you want to experience?
Yeah.
Right. So when you're looking at that, like what you give your attention to is what's going to increase and become more and more and more of what you're going to experience.
Absolutely. The more you push against the pain, the more it is. I gave birth to both of my children naturally by using hypnosis, self-hypnosis. And I recognized much years later that what I was doing was I was relaxing into the pain, into the experience of the discomfort.
Yeah.
And it leveled it to a place where it wasn't that I didn't feel it, but I didn't feel it as discomfort and pain because I embraced it. I was in it.
You included it in your experience.
Absolutely. It was part of my experience. So when I go get tattoos, I use self-hypnosis because I don't feel it. I mean, I feel it, but it's not the same experience. That's what I mean to say. It's just not the same experience.
Well, there was a gentleman, and I wasn't expecting to say this, or I would have gotten that information. But if anybody wants, let me know, and I'll go hunt it down. But there's a gentleman that's on Instagram, and what he does is he'll push you on your body, like on your arm or something, and say, "Tell me when it's like a 9 or 10." And they're like, okay. They're like, well, I'm going to show you. I'm like, they're like, okay. So he'll do that, and you'll go, oh, and they'll say, so put your hand on it, and push. There's a thing that he does where it's like you recognize it, like you notice it, so you push it. So have you ever had pain, and if you push it, it seems to go less, right? So then he says, and then so have them do that, and then they'll have them let go, and they're like, oh yeah, and then so they push it again. Now he says, tell your body that it's okay. I'm safe and it's okay. I accept this. I accept it.
Yeah.
And then they did that and it just stops. And I think I want to check into that more and figure that out, because I think these things that we deem bad, right? That pain is bad. Anybody who's suffering right now, I don't want anybody to suffer.
Right.
And at the same time, whenever I've been in a lot of pain, physically or emotionally, where do I go? I instantly go to God. 100%. My head turns right, my mind, my heart, everything turns right there.
Right.
So, and when the pain is gone, it tends to still be there. Like it's like, remember who you are, remember who has your back, remember who's actually the source.
Right.
So those moments, again, not that I'm trying to discount them or act like they're less than, or you shouldn't have them. I'm not saying that in any way, but there are those things throughout my life that were awful or whatever, and they caused me to move in a certain way. So yes, and that's what the guy was saying, was he said, your body can't talk to you any other way. And your body is trying to get you to notice something, pay attention. Something's hurting me right here. So when you ignore it, when you ignore a child who's upset, what do? They get louder and they do worse things. They might just have been like, excuse me, I have a little something. But if you ignore them and push them out, they might now have a temper tantrum. They might now knock this whole thing over because now they're more, right? So your body is like, hello, there's something going on with me right here. You're not paying attention to me. You're not taking care of me, or whatever it is. And so what he was showing them is when you tap it, it's like you're acknowledging it. It's like, oh, okay. And then when you speak to it and you say that, and I just think it's fascinating because the girl's face, she was like, how did you do that? He goes, no, you did that. You did that. You just acknowledged it. And you told your body, we're okay. I'm safe. And I accept it. I'm working with it, not against it. Like Anne was saying, you chose to move with it and allow it, not fight it and push it. And I think that's the hardest lesson, because when it's painful, that's really hard to be like, oh, yeah, that's right. Right now I'm supposed to be doing, I'm in all this pain, but hold on a minute, I'm supposed to be thinking in my head, la. Like sometimes you can't even think if it's that painful, like
I do want to caution us about something, because, when I came into religious science in particular, I was part of the New Age for many years. And then I moved into New Thought and then religious science. And one of the things that I was uncomfortable with was when I would hear people say, because we're taught so much about how our thoughts, our consciousness creates and attracts our circumstances.
Correct. Yeah.
And I would hear, especially in a church setting, I would greet people as an employee. I would greet people and I would say, how are you? Because I wanted to know, it wasn't just a greeting, and they could feel that. And so they would tell me. And so many times people would say, I could tell that they were feeling guilty. I must be doing something wrong in order to be attracting this circumstance to me.
Why did you create that for yourself?
Exactly. And I have heard people say that.
And
what did you do to create that? Exactly. And I really want to caution us for that, because life is a series of creations, period. And by multiple people, by multiple beings, including the great creator itself, which is what we're flowing as.
Yeah.
And I really want us to be aware of the fact that just because we experience things that we have labeled as, I don't like this is uncomfortable, it's painful, it's bad, doesn't mean that we are wholly responsible for everything that we are experiencing. And so then the question in my mind becomes, okay, so what do I do with that? For me, I look at that and I turn to something like this and I go, you know what? I'm just going to love this experience. I'm going to find a way to know that I've accepted this experience because it's already here. I'm having it. And so now I just am going to be in this and go, okay, so how can I embrace this, and how can I feel better about the fact that I'm in really a lot of pain right now? Right. And move away from that, love myself enough to move away from that place of, why am I responsible for this? What have I done?
Right. And I would just show it with love.
Exactly.
Come from the truth of what and whose you are.
Yeah.
Transform that pain into love, into wisdom, into love.
Right.
Take that pain and shower it with love. Become love in spite of the pain.
Yeah.
You know,
Where's the gift?
Yeah, where's the gift?
Where's the gift?
You know, we have, I mean, how many spiritual people, like I can think of two, like Mary Mann and Morrissey, and also Lindsay Wagner. They had similar starts to religious science where they were sick. They were in so much pain. And they learned about religious science either from somebody helping them through the pain who was a religious scientist and was helping them to move through that. So the journey of our life and the things that come across our path that we experience sometimes is the thing that moves us to the place we want to go anyway, or the place that our soul or whatever we're supposed to be doing anyway. And so when you fight it and you call it bad or call it good or call it whatever, like that's just the human labelings.
Right.
But really, is it either one? Is it just an experience to be experiencing? And it might make you feel good or bad, but is the experience itself that? Or is it that we are saying it is? We've decided it is.
Exactly.
Right? And it's the old story I tell. It always seems we go here, but the story of the farmer. Remember the farmer whose horse runs away, or how's that word?
Fortunately, unfortunately.
Yeah, the one that's like,
yes.
Something bad. He breaks his leg, and the neighbor's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so terrible that you broke your leg." And then the army comes to town, takes all able-bodied men, and he doesn't have to go because his leg is broken. They're like, "Oh, it's such good fortune!" And every time he just says, "We'll see, we'll see." He's not going to label any experience good or bad because. And I'll always say that, well, only time will tell. That's my comment. Well, only time. Well, that's going to be amazing. Well, only time will tell.
Right.
But I'm happy for the part I'm playing in the experience in it. But only time's going to tell which way that's going to, and the Morgan Freeman saying where, you ask God to give you strength, or you ask God to make you spiritual, or you ask God to give you patience, or you ask God for more peace. God's got a sense of humor.
Gives you opportunities to practice.
Right. God gives you opportunities to practice, gives you opportunities to move through it and attain it, like school, right? It doesn't just go poof.
Right.
I don't know what we think it's going to go poof. Is that what we thought was going to happen? Make me magically patient with other people. Yeah, no. Now I've got. Why is it increasing? These people that make me crazy, right? Well, because you have to learn patience to be patient with people. So it's funny how we are, but we don't recognize how it is, how that it works until we've gone through it a few times and we start to go, oh, I see how this human experience is working. So you careful what you say, right? Careful what you are you giving life over yourself? Or are you not?
Right.
Careful what you're thinking about, because you are a massive, powerful creator. I mean, just look around your life, what you've created. And whether you want to label it good or bad, that's on you.
That's right.
But you still created it. And if maybe you don't like something, then guess what? You get to create something else because you're a badass creator. Like, oh my gosh, okay, that's scary and liberating all at the same time. I remember the first time I thought about that, like, wait, I have to take 100% responsibility for what I'm experiencing. Like, oh, that's a little bit uncomfortable for me. And then it was like, oh, but then if I do, then I get to also create it.
Exactly.
That was where it was like, oh, I see the rub there. That's interesting, And it's still work in progress because I'm still having a human experience.
Yeah.
And I still have my default settings where I just naturally default to a reaction that I have to later go, and why did you react that way?
Yes.
Once I calm down, then it's like, and where was that for you? Like I'm my own little psychiatrist, like, right, okay, So it's even if you learn it all, you've read everything, you've gone through everything, you have all the greatest friends in your tribe that know everything. It doesn't matter. We're still in an experience.
Absolutely.
We're in a human experience. You're going to have to experience things to grow and evolve and whatever, elevate, whatever it all is.
Yeah.
And the sooner I think we figure that out, the more that we'll be able to be in the flow of it and not fight certain things or say, this is really bad. Oh my God, this is really bad. And instead be like, okay, it's not my deal. Doesn't feel good, but I'm going to move with it and trust God has my back. If I believe that, then you lean on it, and try to move through it, and then grab your whole tribe and and hang on.
I
Right?
have a friend. She's probably about 15 years younger than I am, maybe younger. And we're extremely close, and she does a lot of reading, and she will text me questions based upon some book that she's reading.
Oh.
And the questions are always extremely thought-provoking, which when she first started doing that, I thought, over text, really? Because the answers are never short.
Yeah, right.
Well, recently she's been asking me really in-depth questions about, is there anything in your life that you would want to change? Is there anything in your life that you feel is left undone? Those types of really deep questions that as the time she's asking me of it, I'm busy, I'm doing bookkeeping. And I get this text and I'm like, whoa, I'll have to look at this later.
A few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Other side of the brain, And I found that in all of these deeper seeking questions that she's been asking me, my first response oftentimes would be, that doesn't interest me anymore. I can't think of anything. I can't, and at first I would go, wow, my God, my life has become really boring. Seriously, just for that split second, then I go, wait a minute, no. I would hear this, not a voice, but this verbiage would come in my head of what I presume to be my higher self and spirit talking through my higher self to me, of you are relaxed, you're going with the flow. Everything that's coming your way, you're experiencing it. You're no longer chasing after anything. In my younger years, I was chasing after something all the time. And now I'm not chasing after everything. I'm taking it the moment at the moment and going, oh, wow, look at this. Ooh, okay, well, yeah, all right, okay. And as I began to open more to her questions, I loved her questions because
I love that.
I found myself going, no, this is good. This is really a good life I'm having.
Aww.
I'm really enjoying my life now. And I can really say in every aspect I'm enjoying my life.
I love that.
And it was that question, those questions that prompted me to go to that place, that really deep inner place and go, what is this really about? That's an old thought that life has to be full of drama and to make it exciting and all that. I see drama and I go, wow, I don't even get involved in it anymore. I just look at it and go, wow. Interesting.
Okay,
What's that about?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Roller coasters are more interesting than trains.
I used to love roller coasters. I used to love them. And then there came a time where I rode on one and went, oh, that's not for me anymore.
Right, yeah.
And that's just not, that is on the physical level, but it's also just that emotional level too. I just don't need that anymore. It doesn't feel enticing to me.
Yeah. It's funny how when you're a kid, a train ride would be boring.
Yeah.
Like, oh, a train ride. I don't want to go on a train ride. I can just hear my children. Even now, they're probably like, oh, I don't want to do that. But when you're older, it's like, this is so cool. I don't have to drive anywhere. I can eat and do with stuff, and I can sleep. Like, it doesn't matter. It's still going. Like, I'm in. Like, put me on a train. I'd much rather have that. Right? Exactly. When we were in London, and everybody goes on the trains and stuff, and sometimes they're long rides on the train. I'm like, this is the best. I love this. Everybody's just sitting there reading their book, doing whatever. I'm like, I could do this. I don't have to drive anywhere. I like to drive, but I mean, sometimes it's like, I just want to sit on a train and let someone else.
Look at the scenery.
What you're saying when you're talking about the things undone, and just the topic of transforming pain into wisdom and love. Last year I lost several friends who had transitioned, 3 younger than me and 1 older than me. And that pain, triggered me. The third, one didn't have a thing, one didn't have a reception. Actually 2 older than me and 3 younger than me. So 5. But each one, a couple of them that I went to their services, and I went to and did their thing. Like, it was very upsetting. The older ones, I was like, okay, like they lived their full lives. Okay. But the younger ones, I know they weren't expecting to go. They had things to do. They had plans.
Mhm.
My friend's husband told me how they were making plans that Wednesday for the weekend. They had all this stuff. So it wasn't like we weren't doing stuff, you know?
Right.
And my head was like, what if that were me? Like, what am I leaving undone? What am I not? I have so many things that are over here because I'm living my life, you know, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm stressing out. I've got stuff to do. You know, what is in me that's over here that if I don't do it, it will die with me. And that's what shifted me to get my books done, to get my, you know, plays, that like all that stuff just started happening. And I tell people today, I don't know what's happening. All this creative stuff's coming out of me. I don't even know what's happening. And then now that you say that, I'm like, oh no, I know what happened. Last year I said, I can't let that happen. I gotta get the stuff out of me. I gotta get all this out. And now now I just remembered, why am I in this space of just creating? Because it's like, it's done. It's all coming out because I don't want to leave anything undone. So that pain, there's so many times where when I'm in my right mind, like I'm in my present mind, I'm not in pain from sadness or in physical pain or whatever. And I can look at it and say, what did that give me? How did that move me? It's always in a positive direction for me. It has always something that was very sad or hurtful or painful, physically, mentally, whatever. When I look back and I go, what happened then? What did that cause me to do? It's always toward the right direction. It always causes greatness or more of a connection with my truth and who I am and what I'm here to do. It resets me, makes me rethink. What are you calling important? What's on your to-do list? What are you doing?
Exactly.
You know, what's important here? So it's like, yeah, I really feel like we can, maybe not in the moment of the pain, that moment.
Right.
So I don't expect anybody to just be a rock star on that because it's
no.
painful. Sometimes you have to let that run its course, and then you give yourself the grace and figure all how do I transform that into wisdom and love, like the card says.
Right.
So I love what you were saying about, like, don't hold yourself to this standard that you made up or someone made up or somebody that you saw and something made up. Like, no, it's my big word for the past several years for me has been give yourself some grace.
Exactly.
Allow yourself to move and flow and learn and grow. Like, just stop expecting these harsh, this harsh, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but on yourself, you know, like being so hard on myself because I didn't, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't respond this way, or I didn't, you know, no, I'm going to give myself some grace, and I'm going to, and it constantly causes me to step back and say, where's my source though? Where's my source? Where's it coming from? And then it resets me.
Right.
So if we can at least do that, if you can at least say in those moments of, hold on, what's the truth of you? What are you? I'm love. I'm God.
Exactly.
I'm having a spirit. I'm a spiritual being made of love, made of God, made of stardust, whatever. And I'm having a human experience right now. I am experiencing this right now.
It.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. And what you were saying too is that you pulled yourself into the present moment. You sat in the present moment. When we are out here and we are freaking out, when you are in the flow of that pain and you allowed yourself to hypnotize yourself, you were staying present with the moment of the pain. Yeah. Now I tried this in childbirth, and that is not easy. I couldn't do it. They had to epidural me because I did try that, but it was so I know, like, sometimes that's why we have medicine, because we can't. It's just, you know, some things are, I'm not practiced enough to be able to hypnotize myself like you were in childbirth. Yeah. So, but again, have I said about that? I give myself grace about that. Exactly. In some ways that I might not be able to do that. And that's okay. That's also part of my experience. That also makes me who I am. When someone is in pain, I can understand from my point of view, and now I have more empathy. Right. You know, so like, yeah, it's easy to look back and try to look at those things that way and help yourself see, how can I transform it into these things? How can I learn from it? And how can I have love from it? So, but I'm not expecting anybody to do it exactly
No.
in the moment, unless you're like really.
No, and a couple of years ago, I was in the hospital and went through a very painful experience, and I couldn't get it under control.
Yeah, it's not always easy.
You know,
Yeah.
I couldn't get it under control. My body started shutting down because of the level of pain. Yeah.
Oh, we couldn't get the speaker
Okay,
working,
that's
so
okay.
just talk
I'll
loud.
talk loud.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes 15 or 20 years.
Ah,
I had two best friends die in my lifetime. And the first one was in 2001 when I was only 48. And no, I wasn't even that old. I was 41. And and 45, whatever. Anyway, I was in my 40s. And she was extremely obese, and I was obese also, not quite as large as her, and she died from obesity complications. And that should have been a wake-up call to me right then. You need to get this under control. And I didn't. And it took me 15 more years when I met my other best friend to really understand that I wanted to live, and this was not going to be under control. But it took her passing for me to finally do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't always immediate. You just have to give yourself grace, and maybe it'll take 20 years.
Yeah.
And now I wish I had done it first, because I would have had much longer, probably detracted from my lifespan to wait 15 years. But I did it, and that's all that matters.
And in those 15 years, I'm sure that other things were
I
happening.
learned a lot of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so like you can say, there's that other saying that, we have this goal, we want to hit this target, right?
Mm-hmm.
This whatever the dream life or vision of your life you want to hit. And sometimes I'll say to myself, when this moment, like right now, I'm in my own personal business, I'm having some struggles in some of my business stuff, because when you're starting a new business, it's always like that. It can't be like that, right?
That's right.
So in my head, I go, okay, but this is what that looks like right now. Does that make sense? Like this dream that I'm having, this is what it looks like today in this moment. So like I'm on this step of however many steps it takes me to get
That's
here.
right.
And I can't just leave. I need to go through this process so that when I get there, I have whatever God, I always tell my husband, God puts you through things because there's something coming up that you need this for. That you're gonna go, oh, that's why it took me all this time.
Yeah.
So more than likely that was just part of the process. And you probably gathered a bunch of stuff along the way. And then when it was time, you could just do it because it was time. You had already gathered all the stuff. And now if anybody else is on that journey, you have all the stuff, I don't know how you get it any other way. And we're the ones that put the timing on it. I'm the one that will say, well, it's been a year and I still haven't gotten whatever. Like I'm the one. Yeah.
And strangely enough, last night I went to a memorial service for a friend of mine from when I was working. And I didn't realize at the time I was working how close these people had come to me. And me and my infinite introvertedness never kept really in contact with a lot of these people. And it was so wonderful to see all these people that were there for her and to know what kind of wonderful person that I remember her to be. Everybody else thought the same thing. And she was older than me, not much, but a little older. But I met so many people that said she was younger than me. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to let this opportunity get away. I need to do something different. I don't know what that is, but I know that it kind of threw mortality in my face because we were around the same age time. And it was just wonderful to be there among all these people that I really loved. And I didn't even realize I loved them until I went last night to see that I loved them.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it was I dreaded going with a passion, but once I was there, I was like, oh my God, I could not have missed this for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know sometimes it's hard to go to those things because you're going to be in pain. Like I went to one of them going, this is going to be
so hard.
But you want to go because you respect that person. You love that person. You want to be present. Right. And then, and then once you're there, because everybody else is in that same space, it's just like, I don't know how you would miss it. Right. But you don't know ahead of time. Right. Sometimes you like have to force yourself. No, you've got to go. And
I think it's back to that same subject though of being in the grief of it, being in the pain of it, allowing yourself to actually be in there. And oftentimes it is easier when you're there with other people who are having the same similar, if not same, the similar experience as you, and it's that's mindset that I love about his writing is to move past the desire to avoid it, move past the desire to not have the experience of it. and to find a way to ease yourself into it, of having that experience anyways, and going through it, because always on the other side of it is a gift of something beautiful. And more times than not, it's love, like what you experienced. You experienced that amazing amount of love that, like you said, you wouldn't have even really realized it was there until you did that.
And I reconnected with one of the people that was in our kind of inner circle at work, who I hadn't connected with for probably before COVID. And we're going to start meeting once a month for lunch now.
Oh,
which I thought was
so
really awesome.
great.
That is wonderful.
No, like that's what you said. It does. It will transform into love or wisdom.
Right. Yes.
Like that.
Yeah.
If you can just move through it, not fight it, not, but go with it and move through it. Sometimes we go, you're going to go through it one way or the other. Might as well, if you can't, let yourself move through it with, grace. And, but yeah, oftentimes that's what we see on the other side.
Right.
If we've got through that veil that seems it's so hard, then we have love and wisdom,
Yeah, I think those go hand in hand always. You open yourself up to love, you have wisdom.
Yes.
You open yourself to wisdom, guess what? You can experience love. Yeah.
And wisdom is not the same thing as intelligence.
No,
Intelligence
is totally something different. Yes.
A whole nother level of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we were talking about death, people not meaning it to be that, but there's so many lessons there. And when my mother was, before she transitioned, she was in hospice for a period of time, and she wasn't feeling well, and she had cancer, so she was in hospice, and she was laying there, and all of my parents, my dad had been married before, and he had 6 children before my mother, before he married my mom. So I have all these older siblings and their mother. And their mother she passed away recently, a wonderful, lovely woman. And I love all my older siblings. And so when my mom was in hospice, they all showed up. Including my dad's ex-wife. My dad was already gone when this happened. So, and it was such a neat moment. And I'm sitting next to her bedside, and when they all got there, everybody was talking with her, right? But I don't know if you've ever been in this experience where they all kind of started talking to each other. And then I remember looking at that thinking this was so awesome that they came, and I was just so grateful that they were showing her this kind of love. And I looked over at her, and she wasn't talking to anybody. She was doing the same thing I was doing. She was like this, like she had this look on her face, like she was so surprised. And I was like, I go, hey. And she just looked like this. She was like, and I go, what's that look for? And she goes, like that, because I think she was going to start crying. So she was being cool, like, Yeah. I said, well, did you think nobody would come? And she goes, I go, really? You thought nobody would come see you? And she was like that. I go, oh, Mom, come on. Everybody loves you. But I think she didn't realize how much she would be missed and how much people did love her like that. And I'm glad she got that before she was gone. I'm glad she had those moments of recognizing, like, wow, I've had an impactful life. These people love me and they've showed up for me. But it was like, so it turned into this awful thing that she was going through, turned into a moment of she got that love and wisdom. Like, wow, my life has meant something to others, which is like a profound moment. I think we all question that from time to time.
What a wonderful experience for all of you, though, the two completely separate families.
Yeah.
With one common ground, the father, to be able to come together like that, because that doesn't appear from appearances seem to be a commonality.
No, we were all big love fest. Yeah, we always got together, and my dad's first wife was always there because those were her kids, and then my dad would come with his wife and his kids with my mom, and so Betty was the sweetest woman, and her kids are my older siblings are amazing, and so it was always just this beautiful thing. But it was amazing to me. It was amazing to me too that they showed up like that, the whole crew of them. So those moments, like, that's when I think, I don't know if we gain the same wisdom and love without the pain sometimes.
Right.
So
well, it certainly is different. That's for sure.
Yeah. And as much as we'd like to, we would say, I'd like to have a life without any pain. I'd like to have, no negative stuff. At the same time,
You don't know it's good until you feel the pain sometimes.
Yeah.
That's
Say it
right.
louder. Say it louder. I feel like that.
Sometimes if you don't have pain, you don't know how good the good is.
Yeah.
You don't know what to be grateful for. Like,
Right.
you know, there are sometimes when I used to get in an argument with my second husband, and he be on fire, angry. I can remember going in the, you go walk yourself in the bathroom, you slam the door, and I'm in there. And I used to make myself think of 5 things. My daughter's laughing. Think of 5 things that I'm grateful for. And the first 3 were always gritted teeth. Well, I'm grateful for this, and I'm grateful for that. And then it's like, well, I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful. Like, okay, fine. It's not that big of a deal. I have a lot to be grateful for. I'd like to get it in check, Yeah, there's you can flip it. I'm not saying don't feel it, but you can flip it. There's always the other side of that coin. There's always the good and the bad. There's always the other side. There's always the bad guy and the hero. There always is. And I love that when Mr. Rogers' mom, they said, Fred Rogers said, his mom would say, don't look at that. Look for the heroes. They're always, look for them. Focus on that. Yeah. Not the bad stuff that you see going on that's freaking you out, scaring you, right? Yeah. It's easier said than done sometimes, but.
As a child growing up in my religious teachings, I questioned a lot. They weren't too happy about that. However, I had a difficult time reconciling in my brain that God was everything. How could God be all this stuff that I see that to me is awful, and that I'm told is awful?
Right.
How can that be? That can't be. And of course, in some teachings there is a separation between that. So what helped me as I started really investigating, I first studied a lot of different teachings, spiritual teachings and religious teachings. And then I got into quantum physics. And I realized for me personally, the way that I could explain it so that I don't get caught up in the negative and the positive is to look at it from the aspect of energy. You have to have both. You can't have one for the other because that's what makes up energy, period. And because everything is energy, then you have to have that, and you're going to have those experiences, period. That's all there is.
Right.
And that helped me to really let go of that anxiety about it, because I was, as a child and a teenager, I was very anxious about it because I didn't understand it. It made no sense to me. I'm like, like we've heard in movies and read in books and stuff, especially for a lot of fiction stuff of, well, why would God make this? Why would God do that? Well, because it's just energy. It's all energy. Right? It's created energy that's creating all of this. So that has been probably my go-to and my safe place so that when something comes up and I feel that other type of frequency going on, I'm like, okay, I'm just experiencing this for now. And this is also going on too. The other frequency is also going on at the same time too. So I'm having this one right now, and I'll have this, and it will also then move into the other type of frequency that feels better, that I like a little better.
Right, and in quantum physics, I'm not remembering the name of the experiment. I think we talked about this before, the one with the cat and the cat in the box. And it's the observer that decides if that cat is
Schrodinger's.
Schrodinger's. Yeah.
Is that cat dead or alive? And they determined it was the observer.
Yes.
That decided one or the other.
Right.
So it's the same with energy. It's the same with everything. Which side are you looking at? The coin is here. Are you looking at the love side or the negative side, the fear side, or whatever that is? Which side are you focused on? Because that is the one that is going to create your experience.
Exactly. And which wolf you're feeding.
And which wolf you're feeding.
That's
the one to go. So you hear all these things and you know this logically in your mind, and it's a practice. So I really say, like, just try practicing. Don't expect yourself to be like great at all the big stuff that comes, but practice in the little stuff so that muscle gets bigger. And then when the big stuff comes, you'll be ready for it. Like, okay, I'm going to practice that now. But yeah, you are the decider if that's a good or bad thing. If that, what experience am I having? The reaction is yours and your choice. And sometimes we just react by default, which I'm guilty of. Sometimes I know all this, I can teach it, I can preach, whatever, but
Mhm.
I will get triggered just like anybody else gets triggered. And then that automated response comes in
Mhm.
to play. And then it takes a little bit where I'm like, that is not what I want. That is not what I wanted to experience or how I wanted to show up or what I wanted to do there. And I give myself grace and I come back and I do it differently, or I correct it or move differently or whatever it is based on the experience. But quantum physics, man, that'll hurt your brain, your brain cells, right? I had to do that in my doctor a lot where I was like, oh gosh, you didn't know your brain could move like that. It's very, very stretches. But it is important to understand if we are made of energy, if we are just God stuff, then we are affected in the same way.
Right.
So, and then the experience we're having is affected that way. So how we see it, we don't have the mic today.
Yeah,
It's not working today.
Oh,
Yes, but go
Speak
ahead.
up,
Go
just
ahead.
speak up.
Yeah, just speak loud because we don't have the speaker right.
one of the best ways that I ever saw to kind of understand quantum physics and how we impact each other is the movie What the Bleep Do We Know?
What
Yes.
the bleep do we
Yes,
know?
that was good.
It explains it in such a way that
Yeah.
anyone can understand how they can impact
Yeah.
their life with thought.
Yeah.
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 Anne was saying, just in case you didn't hear, what the bleep do we know? And that one was a great way to really understand how we are affecting each other and our own experience, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The book, the Wooly teachers was really good too.
Spell that.
WU/LI. So I may not be pronouncing it right. That was all about quantum physics, and it was written in a way that you didn't have to be a scientist to
Right.
understand the words.
Yes,
You know,
because that's
or pronounce
painful.
them.
That's painful.
Yeah.
But that is what's happening, and that's what. And the sooner that we learn how to, flow with that,
Mm-hmm.
the more that we can
Yeah.
control those reactions or what we're experiencing.
Right.
We can not necessarily control. That's not the word. We can
No.
flow with it, move
Yes.
with it, and allow it.
Yeah.
Allow ourselves to experience.
Yeah. Because in reality, we're not controlling energy.
Yeah.
Energy just is.
Yeah, we're
It doesn't
controlling what we
begin.
experience.
It doesn't
Yeah.
end. It just is, and it's always creating.
Yes.
Depending on where we're flowing with it is what we're co-creating as that energy.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Anything else? All right. Well, we
This has been fun.
are Sisters in Spirit on the side. So
Yes.
we're going to do a little song for you all
All right.
as a teaser for the concert. And because we're going to close in this song today. So I'm hoping this works very well. This is called Om Shanti. It's a song written by Ricky Byers. And we have performed this song for years.
Mhm.
We love this song. If you know it, feel free to sing with it too.
Yeah.
You can there's the chorus is at least something
Mm-hmm.
that everybody can do. Okay, so let's see how this goes here. Let's see if it will do. I'm gonna start it over. There we go. Love the sounds of your song.
Let there be peace in my mind. Let there be peace in the earth. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om.
You didn't miss the
I think
the
so,
verse.
yeah.
Okay. We can't get the band to start over.
Yeah.
Or to catch it. Of course, I know. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, Om. Peace inside my heart, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my heart, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside my heart, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside my heart, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 Om Shanti, Om. Peace inside the earth, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth, God and only God I live to see. Peace inside the earth, God and only God is moving me. Peace inside the earth, God and only God I live to see. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. 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 When there is peace in my mind, then there'll be peace in the earth. Little Ricky Byers for you on this Sunday morning. Yay! Thank you.
Sweet,
Love
thank
that
you.
song. I know.
That freed us out.
Yeah.
That's what it was for.
Yeah.
Put us in that space of peace. We accept it now.
Yes.
What can we do to support you?
Well, there's quite a few things actually. First of all, we would love to have you at that concert. We would love to fill up that house. We're about, I think, a third of the way full right now. So we're making our way to selling more tickets and getting the word out. So share this with everybody.
Did you say where the location was?
It's at the Franciscan Renewal Center. We're in their beautiful auditorium that was all redone. It's so beautiful in there. Not a bad seat in the house. It's Franciscan Renewal Center, May 8th. Starts at 5:30 for the meet and greet, 6:30 for the concert. Everyone gets a swag bag. It's kind of a fun little thing. So anyway, we'd love for you to be there. Tickets on sale at beginwithinministries.com on the events page. And you can also support us by being a spiritual church club member. So if you enjoyed what you've seen here today, you want to be a part of this, you want to be part of our community, you can go to also beginwithinministries.com. And on the homepage, we have at the bottom a donation area. So you can donate just to support us. You can also become a partner, and that's a $45 a month fee, donation, or $75 for a family or a couple. And so we appreciate that support of our partners. Our partners get things like they get to be in the club with our mugs, and they get their tickets on the house when we have events and classes and stuff. They don't pay for those things because they support our mission all the time, our vision and mission all the time. So we always want to thank them for that. And if you just, even if that's not something you can do right now, liking what we put out here, sharing it, telling others about us, coming and seeing us in person, and bringing your friends, those are all ways you can support us too. We appreciate everything, because this is what we love. We're creating a life we love by creating this community, and we want it to grow. So we're excited for that. So anyway, what else? What else is there? What else do we normally say? Anything else? Thank you so much for being here, Deborah.
Oh, I love it.
Love you being here.
Love it.
Yeah. And so next week we'll have Jeannie back, and that'll be just, I think the Sunday before. No, then we have.
Yeah,
That's the Sunday before the concert.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. All right. Love you all. You guys all have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
Where's the outro? There it is.
Thanks for watching. Tune in again next week at 11:11 a.m. Pacific Time, or Monday evening at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.